Hello, hello.
Hey
Hi,
there, Susie.
hi, Chris. How are you?
Doing really good.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I mean, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger daily. I'm telling you, the intensity of this energy is amazing.
Wow.
And it's so freeing because there's such a liberation from things mired my mind, like fears, worries, doubts, and insecurities. Those are just disappearing. They
Nice,
dissolve.
Chris.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. I'm thinking of hosting another group meditation 1 week from today. It, would you be up for that?
Yeah, sure. Let's just check my calendar here to make sure. I have some. Oh, that's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if we do it at the same time, usually,
Okay.
typically, I have an appointment, a standing appointment, an activity like at 1 o'clock. So I could always do an hour from noon
Okay.
to one.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Hello. We have Jacqueline is new. Welcome to the group. Okay, am I frozen? Sorry if I'm freezing. Be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I froze for a second. Welcome, Jacqueline. Nice to see you. Super. Timothy, as usual. Beautiful. All right. You guys hear me okay? All right. All right. Beautiful. And we have Floris from Switzerland. Yay. Sweet. Andrea's coming. Just no video. That's okay. All right. So we're just going to let a few folks, we have almost 20 people registered, so we might have a slightly bigger turnout. And we didn't have one last weekend, so we're catching up today. We have some new things to show you too that we're working on that I'm excited about. Um, just FYI, a heads up, we're going to have a group meditation next Sunday. So instead of training 1 week from today, we're going to do something that we did before, similar. We're going to have a group meditation that is going to be a combination of, excuse me, it's going to be start with a focus, like it'll be guided at first, and then silent or whatever your favorite meditation is on your own. So it's going to be kind of a combo meditation. We're going to experiment and test the difference for each of you on the impact on your biometrics. And the beginning of the call will be to just help get you in the sweet spot. And then you do your thing, your favorite thing, your way of meditating. Um, and yeah, it'll be a little more interactive. So I'll send out an invite to probably later today. All right, just getting comfortable here. All right. Whew. Okay. So, waiting on just a few people who I know are brand new. Let me just text them real quick because, and Jacqueline, you're still waiting on your Garmin, right? You don't have it yet? You're muted, but I think you nodded in agreement. Okay. I recall, I think you said the 22nd is when you're getting it. Perfect. So, um, the reason why I'm asking guys is all of you have been through the startup training, so I'm not going to repeat it unless we have, brand new pilots. But all of you already know how to synchronize, right? There's two very, very important features to do regularly is to synchronize your Garmin watch so that the data gets pushed down and goes out, and we analyze it and send you the results back on your mobile app. Likewise, if you're in the advanced group, same thing applies. You need to synchronize in order to send the data out in order for us to analyze it. Otherwise, it can sit on your Garmin all day long. And so it's a good idea to, press the sync button a few times a day. That's the most important thing. And the second most is setting up your Garmin to connect to a Wi-Fi network, also, so that there's regular synchronization going. Okay. Let's see, let me check the participants. Gallery view, got it, okay. Okay, well, I am not going to go through the rest of the startup material because we don't have any other startup people. And Jacqueline, you're just getting an early peek at what's coming, okay? All of you know how to, look at the graphs. I'll do this again for you, Jacqueline, at another date, since you don't have it yet anyway. I'm just going to dive in, I think, to something a little more advanced that we're working on that will interest many of you, because I believe all of you are in our advanced group. So you're going to benefit from what we're going to show you here. Let me get my screen started up. Okay,
Can you hear me, Susan?
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Do you have a
I just wanted to mention when I started to get into the Zoom meeting, it had asked me to update my Zoom because it was it needed to update. So maybe that's what your new people are in the middle of doing, is updating.
Yeah, who knows? I think that's a case by case situation. I believe it might just be because your Zoom is older on your computer. But yeah, no, they'll let me know when they'll either write us in the group chat. Let me just check real quick. Nope, don't see any. Yeah, usually you are you in our, so everyone's in our group chat. We have an advanced group and a startup group. There's Tina, she's in. Cool beans. All right, so I'm just gonna dive into something that Mohan and I and Amkar are working on, and it sort of came, as you know, we've been wanting to improve the formulas on the mobile app so that you have a better representation of when you're improving. And we're also looking for when are you in the most coherent state, like when are you really in a more powerful state with more clarity, more allowance, more acceptance, more power, more heart power. So let me share my screen, and not that. Here we go. All right. So this is my results on the 2nd of November. And Jacqueline and others who are brand new, this is the advanced Soul Compass, and it's a web interface. You won't see this right now, but this is the raw data behind the mobile app. And I'm just showing it so that you can see we use the advanced Soul Compass to help us do some advanced analysis, things that we can't readily see with the mobile app, which is averaging many of the results. So this is sort of obvious, right? This spike, it's a very obvious spike in heart power, right? So this is heart power, and heart power is we derive heart power from your heart rate. So this is heart rate over here in the red, and these are beats per minute. And we can take your heartbeat information in the time domain, beats per minute in time, and we can analyze it in the frequency domain or the energy spectrum, otherwise called the power spectrum. And this is how we derive the frequencies in your heartbeat. And it's broken up into three prominent frequencies: high power, so HF stands for high power, LF down here stands for low power, low frequency, sorry, and VLF is very low frequency. So these are frequencies. And when you have a spike like this, this is rather significant. And what you'll notice at the same time as a spike is you're going to see, oops, here we go. You're going to see this. Look over here. You're going to see heart rate dropping significantly. When your heart rate drops significantly, your heart power goes up significantly. It's just something that's very, 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 very common. And why is that? So when you're sleeping, like this is sleep, this area here is sleeping. You know, the heart doesn't change very much, right? It's pretty, it has a resting heart rate. And then when you get up in the morning, you know, it starts to go up, right? Just getting out of bed, making coffee, making breakfast, going for a walk, especially if you exercise, your heart rate is going to go up, and your body needs more blood, and the cells of your body need more energy to be animated, to be physical, and be in your body and move it. And your heart rate goes up as a result. Well, when that happens, the time and space between those heartbeats gets shorter. You know, you're beating faster, so that the time between beats is less. But when you relax and go into meditation, or really chill and surrender and go into a state of acceptance and allowance, and you're just really maybe you're meditating, or perhaps you're just noticing how beautiful it is. You're just more in a state of presence. You're really quiet in your mind, or the thoughts you're having are very uplifting, more about appreciation and feeling fortunate or blessed. This will cause your heart rate to drop, because you are just, you know, like they did studies on deep meditators. Their heart rate just keeps going down, 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 down. You're just less in your body and more in a state of grace. And you just don't, your body just doesn't need to pump blood everywhere when you're in a heightened state of presence, when you're really at peace and not efforting, and more in a state of satisfaction instead of action. This will cause your heart rate to drop. And this is a big drop, right? This is below. Can you see how this point is even below sleeping? That's really rare to have that happen while you're awake. Usually when you're sleeping, so let's go back over to heart power real quick. When you're sleeping, looking over here at heart power, is usually when it's the highest. Okay, like, you know, ignoring that spike for a minute. Let's just ignore it. I'm moving it so you can really see it. Usually when you're sleeping, heart power is highest, right? Look at this, is sleeping. This range here is sleeping. Heart power is usually the highest. As soon as you wake up, it comes down. Why? Because heart rate's going up. Okay, but then if I go into a meditation, my heart power is going to go up and my heart rate is going to go down. And then similarly, you know, it's going to come back down again as I get active in the day. Now, what happened here? What happened? This is the really the magic thing that happened at approximately, this is, you know, international time, 9:30. So let me zoom in here again so you can really see this. So it stands out. It was around 9:30 at night. And specifically what happened, and I'm going to show you somebody else where this happened just recently as well. I'm going to show you Omkar's results. This moment was not really a silent meditation. It was more of a focused meditation on satisfaction. I was sitting there replaying magical things that happened in the day that made me feel so fortunate and just so blessed. And my heart just opened. And I felt at peace, deep peace, and really blessed. And I was just reflecting and replaying this magical thing that happened during the day that was, I only call it magical because it was amazing. The things that fell into place. And I realized that they fell into place because I was in a higher state of allowing instead of pushing or forcing. And then boom, things just happened so beautifully when I let go. And this was just me replaying it. The actual experience was probably here, right? But the replaying of it, I amplified it. And my heart rate dropped. And this is not something you can just do. You know, you can go for a run and make your heart rate go up, right? But to get it to do this while you're awake can only be done by this concept that I'm trying to explain, which is being in a heightened state of presence in the now with full acceptance, feeling appreciation, feeling aware of your appreciation, and just in a state of grace. It feels like love, and it feels pure, and it feels like magic. And depending on how fast it comes in, it can feel like bliss, or it can just feel like, um, a warm hug. It may not have a giant, like, emotional, uplifting, blissful rush to it. In this case, it did for me. But I'm going to show you another example where it happened to Omkar and it was more about feeling satisfied. But I'm going to just scroll down a little bit and show you what else is happening. At that time, you'll notice this is in the green is heart rate variability. Now it's a little easier to see it here on the right. This is our test dashboard. So when you log in, you won't see these over here on the right, but I'm just going to show you so it stands out more obviously. See, there's also a spike at that same time. And you can really see it lining up with my heart rate dropping and this heart rate variability metric just skyrocketing at the same time. And so when those happen all at the same time, number one, and you can even look at your Garmin and see this. You can look at Garmin and look at your heart rate. And if you ever see a big drop, log in to your advanced soul compass and see if you also see a big spike in heart power with the simultaneous spike in heart rate variability. Because when you do, and this is what we're working on, it's coming up next. We're still making adjustments, so it's not ready yet. But we have this new thing we're working on called combined coherence. This is a highly coherent state when you have heart power rising and heart rate variability rising at the same time. This is like the sweetest spot of being consciously awake. This is a focused state, and whatever you're focused on will gather more momentum and will turn out in a way that is highly satisfying for you. And so these are currently just these bar graphs. And what we're working on for you guys is these will become token rewards. This is the essence of what we're shooting for, is this combined coherence, this combining your heart power with your heart variability. that's going to become combined coherence. So we're not quite yet ready to roll this out to the mobile app, but for those of you who are subscribers to the Advanced Soul Compass, you're going to see this soon. I'm going to actually now show you Omkar as well, because he had an even stronger experience. So notice, I just want, before we move, you know, heart power for everyone's going to be different, but usually when you're sleeping, it's highest. Mine's around, you know, 15, 20 is very high. And when there's a spike like this, it went to 35. Now I'm going to go to Omkar because he had a very special experience as well on the 11th of November. And then I'm going to open it up. You guys can ask questions anytime you want. I don't mind if you interrupt. So again, here's Omkar, and here's a moment where his heart rate, he had a dramatic drop in heart rate right here. You see that? And you know, this is his sleeping level, right? It's here and here. You can see at the beginning and end of his day, his heart rate goes below. It's the lowest of his whole day. Is something happened around 5 o'clock. And you can also see this huge spike in heart power at the same time. You see that? See that timeline right there? Same time. And now let's scroll down and look at the heart rate variability. Similarly, he also had a spike as well, same time, right? See that? Same time. So no surprise, he's going to get a very, very high, you know, coherency reading at that time. So this is not yet available for you guys. Okay, when you log in, you won't see this blue. It'll be, you know, the old version. It's not yet ready. We're still experimenting with these fundamental graphs to get really to isolate these, especially if there's a peak. But everyone will be measured against yourself, right? So, you know, like Omkar's peak here, look at this. This went up to 60. Can you guys see this? The level 60. Huge. This is a massive power spike. The highest I've ever seen, actually. So, you know, we're really wanting to help you guys isolate when this is happening. Now I'm going to move on and show you an example where instead of a spike, you just have like more like what Chris Coyne has, which is just an elevated day. Like he's just so consistent that, you know, instead of spikes, you're gonna, let me show you what that looks like. So I'm gonna go to Chris now. Actually, I want to use Omkar. I'm going to look at the day before, just so you can see him, the same person. Because he had another, no, maybe it was the 12th. I remember looking at 2 days for him, one after the other. See how it's very different. Is Omkar on the call? Because I want to find that day where he had, it just like rose. And it was just a beautiful day. All right, I'm not readily finding it. Let's try one more. Do you remember at Mohan we were, oh, here's an interesting one. Let's just look at this.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up to find the exact date.
Yeah, hang on, I'm just trying to erase these markings so you guys can see. So here is Omkar on a different day, right? Sleeping, again, heart rate, resting heart rate low, waking up, heart rate rises, right? Very, very common. You can see this in your own metrics. And, you know, sleeping, heart power is high. As soon as you wake up, it's going to come down. Now, this is the other, you know, it's not all about spikes. This is actually even more meaningful. Look at this. Heart power gently rising, 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 he just keeps, he has a day where he's just rising, this is very desirable. This is just oops, what happened? Uh-oh. Continuous improvement throughout your day. And now let's just scroll down and look at heart rate variability. Oops, I have to take my little markings off. And you can see he's got spike after spike, you know, a few spikes, right, throughout the same time frame in heart rate variability. So if we scroll down, we can see combined coherence around those same times. You see that? Lots of them. We don't care so much about these while you're sleeping. It's more about when you're awake. And he's got a lot of blue bars indicating tremendous coherence throughout his working day. Did you find it, Mohan? It was like from 9 to 5. It was all day. He had a
Yeah, I was not able to. I think the only day he shared was the day that we were looking at earlier, and
all right.
this.
I think it was in the advanced group, Telegram group. But anyway, I'm going to look at Chris now, and let me scroll up. So Chris Coyne, you're on the call. I'm going to show Chris Coyne on the 10th. And let me erase that little mark that's there. This is confusing, this little guy. So let's look at Chris. Chris is, I love looking at Chris because he's so consistent. So this is Chris getting up, doing an exercise, so his heart power goes down. Oops, gotta refresh. Time's out. There we go. And then he goes into meditation and he just keeps going up, right? I mean, this is beautiful. Just continual, soft, gentle rise throughout his day. And this is, you know, towards the end, getting a little active, but ending, he always ends very high with the meditation before he goes to bed. So this is a beautiful way to just flow. And he gets an afterglow from many, many years of meditation, starting with it every morning, pulls himself up, and it just carries him. So we're also really interested in this because let's go down below and look at all of the spikes in heart rate variability that are taking place. Many, many spikes. And these are high. These are very high spikes. Anything over 100 nanoseconds between beats is high. And then going down to coherence, again, see how many blue bars he has during his day. The ones while you're sleeping, they don't really count as much, but during your day, to get these high bars is a big deal. So, yeah, that's what you're looking for. Is there anyone else who would, you know, we can look at many of you are already in our system, or I can analyze it on the test system. Anyone else? Tim, you always have amazing results. All right.
Yeah, that would be fine. You could
Can
look
we
at mine.
you? Okay. Do you have a particular day in mind?
Go yesterday was a pretty good day.
Yesterday, is that the 18th? No, where are we?
18th. Yeah.
18th, Saturday. Okay, let's look at yesterday. If you get this, guys, just hit get results again. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm just amazed. Like you are just look at this. This is Tim's heart rate. Let's always look at the heart rate first, okay? He has a very low heart rate, resting heart rate, which is very good. You want that. And I mean, I can't even tell sleeping versus awake because it's just barely, you know, it's not like a dramatic, you obviously didn't go for a sprint or a hardcore hike. You had it looks like a very peaceful day. And,
Yeah.
you know, and look at your heart power. So here you are sleeping, actually quite high, right? You can hardly tell when you get up because it hardly dips, right? And then it comes right back up again. Like this is, you know, when you're sleeping, everything's gonna be maxed out. To be awake and to have it almost look the same means you're just really like highly allowing your
I
just
woke up about 3:15 and did a meditation.
okay, got it, that's it. So look, you can see that. Let's look at that together. So 3:15, you know, you do a meditation, so no surprise, heart power goes up. Anytime you guys do a meditation, look at your metrics and notice two obvious things are going to happen at the same time. You're going to get, your heart rate's going to go down, right? Heart rate's going down starting at 3:15. See that? And your power, your heart power is going to go up. That's just going to happen because you're not thinking. And many of our thoughts, they're just filled with some resistance or even little minor things like doubt or worry. So if you can just not think, you're automatically going to raise your heart power and your heart rate's going to go down. You're just in a deeper state of less resistance or no resistance. So then after your meditation, you know, it's just a barely noticeable drop coming right back up again. And again, just barely up, barely comes down. And then, you know, I'm imagining you went to sleep around this time.
Yep.
So let's scroll down and look at what's happening at that during your day, you know, looking at heart rate variability, the green metrics. Let me get rid of the other ones so it's not confusing. Amazing peak, very strong one around 6:15, but this is probably more related to your heart power going down. So remember, heart rate variability doesn't care if your heart rate is going up or down. It's just the standard deviation, right? And so that's why, guys, scrolling down, we're looking for when is it varying in what we call the positive direction, where there's more space and time. And that's when we really get excited. And those are these. See these peaks here. More around these times. Interesting. Mo, are you seeing this as well? Like, what I'm a little surprised about is 3:15 is when he did his. Interesting. So this is interesting. So you can see your meditation at 3:15, right? And you see your heart power going up and heart rate going down slightly. What I'm looking for now is heart rate variability going up. Not as dramatic, you know, it's not as significant. It was bigger. So I mean, so look at this. See how this is really big right here, Tim, at
Yeah.
6:15. Your heart rate variability is very high because at that time, your coming over to your heart rate is also spiking. See how at this time, 6:15, your heart rate spiked pretty quickly. And when that happens, your heart power is going to come down quickly. And that can cause your heart rate variability to spike and even be the biggest of the day, but that's not the most powerful moment of your day. And that's why if we go down below, you're not going to see a really dramatic combined coherence at that time. So let's just recapture this, because what we're now looking for is two things. We're looking for heart rate variability going up, but we need to see heart power also going up. And at that time it was going down. You see that? So these are going in
And I
opposite.
think I was waking up about that time
Yeah.
because I did a meditation and then
Yeah,
kind of chilled and went to sleep for 45 minutes and then
right,
woke
right.
back up.
Makes sense. Totally, right. So there's nothing wrong with this moment. It's just our way of helping you see that if they are going in opposite directions, there's nothing wrong, but it's also not your high point. It's not your the goal is, or at least is to figure out how to spend more time doing where they're both going up at the same time. And what's coming is this graph here. This combined coherence is going to help you see it. Whenever there's a spike in combined coherence, it means they're both going in the same direction. And you don't have to like do what I'm doing right now, which is lining them up. And, you know, we're doing it for you, is what's coming. We're going to give you a bar chart to let you know not only are they both rising at the same time, but the relative height of this coherence bar represents how much they're rising together or how little they are.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you know, so you have a lot of blue bars, and we're really looking for new ways as well to recognize this pattern, because this is you know, I really want to emphasize the value of this pattern. A couple things, you know, one is having your heart power go up over and above your sleeping levels is really worth celebrating. And then either holding it relatively high throughout your day, or in some cases just having, like with Chris, I was showing you, it's like this gentle rise, and it's like building momentum. You're just building the momentum throughout your day, which is becoming a walking meditation, or it's an indication of not having very much resistance and being high in your allowance, high in your just appreciation, feeling accepting, aware, present, peaceful, satisfied. The minute you get into conflict with your thoughts and feelings, where you're aggravated or irritated or even just any negative emotions whatsoever, if you push against that, it's just going to bring you down. So this is really about learning how to think better feeling thoughts and being more focused about it, and seeing the difference, seeing the results, seeing how the metrics respond according to what you're focused on and how you're focused on it. Okay, I'm gonna just show you a few more examples. And if any of you, just speak up if anyone wants me to look at yours, because I'm just going to show you a few more examples.
Susie, I just wanted to share with you while you were
Yeah.
chatting, I checked my soul compass and I'm at 100% allowance, 100% balance, and 80% coherence just listening to you.
I love it. This is what is today? Today's 19th. Yeah, let's look. Let's
You have a
look.
profound impact on me.
Well, let's is today the 19th? Yeah. Okay, here you are. So I'm so glad, Chris, you just spoke up like this, because it's a great segue. It's a great segue. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for just a second, and then we're going to look at your results. What we're getting to, and you just perfectly jumped in. When you're attending these calls, if we're presenting truth, if I'm in a coherent state and I'm analyzing myself or anyone else and it's accurate, it's going to ring true. And all of your metrics, if your resistance is low, would likely rise. And that's what Chris is confirming. We've had many people, many pilots in these calls, like afterwards, send me a screenshot going, wow, just being in that call like elevated me. And
Absolutely.
yeah, Flores, right? And you had it too. I think you had it as well the first
Well,
time.
yeah, but also now I just checked mine and I just updated it. I'm at 183.98.
I
So
love it. It's so cool. It's so cool, guys. This is so magical. And I really appreciate you all so much for playing along, because this is a theory and it helps to validate what we're doing. It helps to validate us as well, that we're on the right track. And we are breaking through some older beliefs about what coherency is and what flow is and what is the sweet spot, what is the ideal state. And most of the studies on what we're doing, being in a flow state or being at your peak performance, most of these studies are on pathology, on sickness, right? Because most of the studies are funded by medicine. And so they're always looking at people who are not well. And they're trying to take that data and tell us the opposite of what is ideal. And we don't think now that those things correlate very well. So we're having our own study, our own, I wouldn't call it a clinical study, but it is a study. And you guys are all pilots, you're all part of it. And that's why we're having these calls. And next Sunday, 1 week from today, we're going to have our first guided meditation where I'm going to kick it off and I'm going to guide you as best as I can on thoughts that should increase your allowance and your coherence and reduce your resistance. I'm just going to speak as much truth as I can and inspire you with our breakthroughs, like I'm doing today, showing you the latest discoveries. These are breakthroughs and we're very excited about them. And the more it's true, the more it should uplift you, right? Because when you're in a coherent state, you're allowing more of the truth to flow in. And that resonates with everyone's ideal self. So the more anyone can do what we're measuring, which is these heightened, higher states of coherency, higher heart power, higher heart variation in the positive direction, more time and space, heart rate's going down. When all these things are synchronized together, everyone should be feeling a deeper sense of acceptance, peace, love, maybe goosebumps, and just more present. And your metrics ideally will reflect that. And then you can begin to share them with each other. And in the Telegram group, go, look, it happened again. I was on this call, or I did this meditation, or I did this thing I do that always seems to work for me. Maybe it'll work for you too. And then you can share those with each other. So next week, we're going to have the first time ever. It'll be my version of a flow tube where I'm going to do my best to calibrate myself and anyone who's on the call to rise to your truer self, and then do a silent meditation or whatever thing you want to do that works best for you. So it's like a combined thingy where I do my thingy and then you do your thingy, and then you check the results. You can easily look at the soul compass. We can look at the advanced soul compass and we can see, did you rise? Or did you spike? Or did you dip? And then you tell us, what does it feel like? What does it feel like to be rising in your metrics? What does truth feel like? And it may feel different to each person, depending on, you know, how low you were when you started or how high you were, right? It's going to vary. So that's what's coming, guys. So I'm so excited. Thank you both, Floris, Chris, letting me know that it's working. Because, you know, it's very natural for even self-doubt to kick in, to go, is this really happening? Like, are we, because we're really going where no one's gone before. We're diverging from current beliefs about flow and about coherency. Because right now, most beliefs are very different from what we've discovered. And it's because of you guys that it's these spikes that we started seeing, like, what's happening here? We can't ignore this, right?
We lost you for a very brief moment, Susan.
Oh, well, I'm back. Who knows, you know? I'm sure you could feel it. All right, I'm gonna dive in. We're gonna look at Chris now. And like I said,
I just would like to say that
yes.
we are literally on the leading edge as you're stating this, and I am excited too. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get my Garmin. Can't wait.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. Jacqueline is new. She's from Canada, and it means a lot to me, each new person who really resonates with this. And many of you know that when I see an application and I see that, like, you're perfect, I'll reach out to you directly. And so we're pulling people in who we think you know, resonate with this the most. All right, sorry, I froze again. I was just thanking you, Jacqueline. Appreciate it. You see the difference, guys, when someone like Jacqueline joins and Floris recently joined. These are people who I can see in their applications really stand out. And that's why I reach out to them and go, please join us. Your data is going to help us be of value to not only you, but to everyone else. And so, yes, thank you, Jacqueline. Appreciate that. We are very much on the leading edge, and it helps to get your feedback because, you know, as much as when you go where no one's gone before and you're on the leading edge, when you're in a flow state, it feels for sure you're on the right track. But then if you're, you know, if you have a moment where you're not so sure, you start doubting yourself, right? And that's what we're trying to figure out, is how to know it when we see it and not like doubt it, but not get closed mind about it either, and righteous. Stay open-hearted, but not closed-minded. And that requires a willingness to not be sure. You see, it's like a paradox. You have to be willing to be not so dead set and right about it. And that's the only way you can find the magic and the improvement. But we want to be able to feel the difference. Like, yes, that's it. Ding, 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 you know? So that's what we're on to, guys.
Goosebumps.
Okay. Any more comments? Because I'm going to look at Chris now and look at his data. Okay.
Quick comment. Be awake in your mind and alive in your heart.
There you go, Tim. Exactly. Yes, awaken your mind and enliven your heart. Yes, because as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you know, the mind is a very valuable tool, but it's the heart that knows the truth. So, you know, usually human mind is focused on survival, physical survival, but the heart, you know, it knows it's eternal. Okay, Chris, looking at you today. What time is it for you, Chris? Is it 1 o'clock your time?
Right now it's almost 1 p.m.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm doing almost 1. So basically your whole morning is just like, you know, here you are, right? You wake up, power goes down, no surprise, because I know you do a pretty intense exercise followed by a strong meditation. So you come right back up. And then, your day is just elevated, right? A little bit of ups and downs. But as you said, here you are in this call. And really, for the last few hours, you've been rising gracefully. And your heart rate is really gently coming down to almost sleeping levels, right? This is you.
Yeah, my Garmin shows me at, in the low 60s, which is
Yeah.
highly unusual. That's not essentially my sleeping heart rate.
Yeah,
I've
it
been
is. Yeah.
today.
Yeah, I mean, only when you're in a deep meditation, which is like 5 a.m. here. If you look at this is you deep meditation, your heart rate's going to go way down. And this is consistent, right? People who meditate, and Chris, you've been doing it for 20 years, your resting heart rate is just going to go way down for during meditation. And I know you're like 70 years old, so most 70-year-olds, their heart rate's like, much higher, their resting heart rate. So you have a very low resting heart rate and you're able to achieve it during meditation, and then you're achieving it right now because this is your now time is over here. So you're very, very low right now. And your heart rate variability, I'm going to leave the graph for heart power so you can just see. This is the most significant one right here, is during your meditation, right here. So you see that, and that for that reason, you're getting your high coherency. This is a new bar. You can't see this yet when you log in, but that's your highest moment of the day, was when you did your meditation.
Yeah, very intense one this morning.
Yeah, you can really see that. You can see it in how dramatic your rise is in heart power. I mean, you just sink right in and then rise up. And then this is your peak in heart rate variability at the same time. You see that they line up. And so that's why you're having your highest combined coherence at that time. And you have some more throughout your day, right? You have these as well.
I did several meditations today.
Yeah.
But the reality is, even when I'm shopping or eating or walking or
yeah.
cooking, all of it is a moving meditation because I feel the presence so strongly.
Yeah. And so describe what that presence feels like. I mean, I know what it feels like for me, but I would really like it for others to hear. How does it feel in your
Well, this is something that happened, as you may recall, Susie, about 4 or 5 Thursdays ago.
Uh-huh.
Where I was finishing my workout. My workout is very intense. I've been doing this for maybe 20 years, but it intensified the last 7 years because of a surgery that I had, and I underwent physical therapy, and then it morphed into this very, very intense workout. It lasts about an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Do you remember
I
what
turned that into a meditation, actually, in a way, because during the pauses between sets, I deeply meditate. But the more important thing is, several Thursdays ago, I suddenly shifted from the normal state of consciousness that I was in to suddenly this bliss state.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I remember
the bliss that I might normally have, or the spiritual
there it
I
is,
might
right
normally have. Was that it?
This is it. This is it. Oh my God, look at this, you guys. Is this like not obvious?
Yeah. No, it was, yeah. So the normal state that I am in, the normal consciousness I am, shifted radically. Occasionally, I would be teased by these spiritual euphorias during meditation and feeling good about it. At times, I might even have that feeling when I'm in quasi sleep, as I'm emerging from sleep. I get up every morning at 12:30, so I kind of have vampire hours.
Yeah.
Weird lifestyle. Very active. But suddenly I shifted into this continuous state of bliss in which all of the upper chakras, and it's beginning to move into the lower chakras, are fully activated. And it's hard to describe. I mean, initially I wasn't concerned because it felt so good. You could taste it, smell the bliss. And then it amplifies every single day. So for the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's increased so dramatically.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about it is my head is so full of this energy, it is impossible to cultivate any negative ideas.
Right,
Any,
right. Okay,
any
got it. I
thoughts
love
of
it.
any thoughts of insecurity, fears, worries, doubt, all of that just
Uh-huh.
disappears.
Right.
And the result of that, see, I'm convinced that the universe is designed for my perfect happiness and that I got in the way.
Hmm.
And now this energy is preventing me from getting in the way. And so just as you had described, Susie, about how miracles and synchronicities are occurring in your life, I don't have to effort anymore. Things are just
Right.
happening. And the classic example was on the 11th. I host these huge charity events in Chicago 12 to 15 times a year. And I had one of our largest events this last Veterans Day, where I had 400 volunteers and we created 100,000 meals for
Right.
food secure veterans. And I just was in a flow the whole day. Now, yes, it was stressful because I was co-hosting this event, but I just felt so fabulous. And everything, all the hundreds of possible things that could go wrong, none of them did. Everything just came into place effortlessly. And now when I flew back, whoa, it's like, whoa, I'm out of my way now. I'm out of the way of the universe giving me perfect happiness and divine perfection. And so that's the good news about this. And everybody can get to this place. I'm confident of it. Good news about this is that once this energy is so intense, you cannot cultivate or contemplate negative thinking.
That's what I really want to talk about, the spike and what you just described. I love that you described it such a way that your human mind could not tap into negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, false beliefs, that you were, in a heightened state of just feeling your abundance, feeling your power, feeling free. Right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So for me, when this happens, I usually feel it more in my heart. It just feels like liquid love. I just feel happy. I feel very happy, more sure and more secure that things are really working out. And that, let me see if I can describe it. This is a little tricky. I become aware that my thoughts leading up to that are causing the outer reality to
Absolutely.
unfold. Like I'm connecting the dots between the thoughts in here, how I feel, and what comes next.
The universe responds completely to your thinking, to your emotions, to your energy, your vibration. It's an exact response.
Yes.
And almost none of us are able to control the negative thoughts that flow through our minds continuously. But you don't need to try to control it. All you need to do is surrender to source, which is us, and allow it to do it. And it will surge through you this energy, this sense of well-beingness that prevents those thoughts from encroaching on your peace. And gradually everything just becomes effortless.
Yeah. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a second because you're really touching on what I want to do in the meditation next week. I want to, start with thoughts that are easy for everyone to focus on without resistance. Because if you shoot too high or go too fast, often it triggers the opposite. And then it becomes hard to focus and stay focused in a positive direction without, like, it might trigger the opposite thought. Like an example would be, I wouldn't start with trying to be happy. I wouldn't start to think about my former cat that was hit by a car, because that's just going to pull me right down. but I can focus on my other cats and, you know, just feel some appreciation there, and or look at the trees and notice the wind moving them. Just something really basic to start to let go. And then see if I can keep going. If thoughts come in that kind of are negative or doubtful, there are ways to neutralize them, you know, to just like starting with not fixating on them, but how to choose, how to actually choose thoughts one by one and not let the doubts or the insecurities to creep in and go, ooh, now I'm off in the weeds, right? Like come back. So I'm gonna like try to do this as a group to have you try to think of something that feels good, that you feel lucky about or fortunate about. And it's easy. It's don't shoot for the stars. Don't start there. Start with something basic. Like, did you happen to notice the sunset recently or a sunrise? Or, you know, did it snow? Or, you know, can you just think of anything that's easy to feel good about? And then see if you can increase the momentum by either thinking more about that or something like that. And then you're causing your mind to gain momentum in a direction that is satisfying. So get yourself, you know, into a more satisfying state that then attracts more and more thoughts that pull you up instead of going down. So we're just going to like do stuff like that. And by doing that, you're lowering your resistance and you're increasing your allowance and you're increasing your awareness of how you feel without judgment, without opinion. I recently had this awareness that if you even have an opinion, a not feeling good opinion about anything, anyone or anything, that's actually going to bring you down. So we're going to do a focused meditation on letting go of all opinions. Even if they're true, doesn't matter. If it doesn't feel good, it's not serving you. So
I love it, Tracy. Unfortunately, I have to go, but I'm so excited to participate in the meditation next week.
Yeah.
And you're on to something really powerful.
Yes. Thank you, love. Thank you, dear.
Absolutely.
Thank
Love
you
to
so
everybody.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you, Chris. Thank you. Well, you know, and Chris has been with us. I've known Chris for 20 years. And he was one of our founding investors, and I'm just thrilled to have him so passionately involved, as are many of you. I mean, Amkar, I was talking about you earlier. Hope you don't mind. We analyzed your metrics. And so what we're on to right now is that next week we're going to have a very special flow tube episode. I'm going to lead it, and we're going to experiment with how to think better feeling thoughts that lead to higher and higher metrics in your heart power and in the variation of your heart rate that correlate with higher states of coherence, satisfaction, ease, grace, presence, joy, love, happiness, divine, right? Like you're, you know, and we're going to experiment and see if anyone has measurable results that are rising, either during the guided portion as well as the silent portion. And then we're going to like do what we're doing now and look at people's, you know, results. All right. So we got, hey, so anyone else? I've already did Omkar, I did Chris. Is anyone else on this call besides Tim, because we did Tim as well, who would like us to look at your data on any given day? Tina, yes. Okay, what day? Do you have a day in mind?
Yes, I have one day. I just look at it by myself, and it's 15th.
On the 15th. Okay, let's look at
Yeah.
Tina on the 15th of November. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me put my
does
glasses on.
that really high spike. And I was thinking, what did I do?
Wow. Okay. Is this it? The 15th?
Yeah.
All right. So let's just start from the basics. I often first look at just heart rate. So Tina has an incredibly low resting heart rate, which is very, very healthy. And it doesn't even move that much. And then you can see when she's waking up, right? The heart rate goes up. Now, heart power, highest while sleeping, comes down when she's waking up. She's probably going into a meditation, so it's coming back up again. And there's this, she's holding it relatively high, and it even, comes back up again around 3:30 before being physical again, where it drops down, but comes right way up here at 10:30 at night. Can you tell us what happened in this day?
Yes, I was visiting a art exhibition. This is the spike. This is this high.
This one here?
Yes.
Got it. At 3 o'clock. This is when you went to an art exhibit.
Yeah.
Interesting. So your heart power is going up because you must be really appreciating what you're observing, starting at 2:30 to 4:30. Now let's look at your heart rate between 2:30. Well, it goes up and down, right?
Yeah.
But what I see is there's these, this is really interesting. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone who can drop your heart rate so fast, so many times. Like, it's almost like you just snap your fingers and you go right into the state of presence.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just dropping in so fast into no effort, no resistance.
Yeah. I know how does it feel.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Look at, and again here, see, there's another one and another one. You just like, oh God, look at this. I mean, this is you going to sleep, but still,
Yeah,
that's what's,
I
go
yeah.
ahead, speak, because I'm so excited. I have to,
Yeah, that's the time I go to bed, and then I do I think about the day, and I'm meditating, and always the Garmin is telling me I'm already sleeping.
right, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. So what, Garmin's using metrics, it's using the same data, but interpreting it. And when you're in an incredibly deep state of acceptance, no
Yeah.
effort, no stress, it thinks you're sleeping.
Yeah.
We now know there's more to the story. And Garmin is also just looking at you like a physical body.
Yeah.
It's not, doesn't know how to interpret your metrics in a subtle way that has to do with your feelings or your thinking. It's almost all physics, right? But what we can see and what's really standing out, and I'm so glad you let us share this with the group, is you have an uncanny ability to drop your heart rate very quickly and very deeply, over and over and over and over again, right? That you don't see very often, and that's your rate of change is great, and therefore your heart power rate of change is also going to be steep, or even a relatively steep curve. Now look, I'm going to look below. Let's scroll down below and look at heart rate variability. You also, around those same times, I'm keeping the annotations so you can see when it's happening at the same time. You have lots of spikes. And remember guys, spikes in heart rate variability, a high spike is right here at 100 nanoseconds. between heartbeats and look at how many of yours are going above what's considered high. Many spikes in your heart rate variation. And down below, you have lots of combined coherence as well. These blue bars. These blue bars always rising when you have a combined increase in heart rate power, the heart power spectrum, and your heart rate variability. When you have spikes, or at least rising, a rise in your heart power, which is like, I'm going to point them out. Obviously one there, one there, one there. Constant there, constant here. Heart power is rising at those times. Now we're going to scroll down below and see when heart rate variability is also rising at the same time. It's hard to see with these annotations, but the blue bars down below, and you're going to get to see this hopefully in the next few weeks. We're going to roll this out for all of you that are subscribers to the Advanced Soul Compass. You're going to be able to see these blue bars that does the work for you, and then you can look at the time and see when you were the strongest in your coherent power, when your focus, your heart and your mind were highly coherent in what we're calling a higher state of acceptance, allowance, awareness, peace, often coupled with feeling happy or satisfied. That's probably the best word for it, satisfied. But we're going to let you guys define the feeling. That's why I'm asking each of you, rather than us define it subjectively, we want you to define it. And that's going to help us zero in on the sweet spot, especially if you notice that not only do you feel good when certain metrics are lining up, but your reality, your life, is now coming at you in a way that's even more satisfying. So we're trying to connect the dots inside with your biometrics so that you can connect them with what you're doing and that caused it to come, and what did come, like what came afterwards. What happened, what magic happened in your life. And you know, it goes the other way too. Shit can come if you're not focused and you're literally focused on the dips and the shit. Well, then you're just going to amplify and get more shit. Right? You're going to get whatever you focus on. And for that reason, we won't focus much on what you don't like, because many of us are still trying to figure out how to flip that and look for the good. How to not push back on things that don't feel good, because that only gets deeper and it gets worse. So we're, as much as we can, going to help you find when you are lining it all up in a way that is uplifting you and giving you the results that you want emotionally, mentally, and in your life, right? That's the whole point of this whole thing. And that's why we're tokenizing it, because we think, you know, these in the not too distant future will represent actual tokens. And each of those tokens will contain the metadata, the raw data, and you can click on the token and be brought right back to the dashboard and go, well, what happened when that happened? You know, and then you can start to really connect not just the dots on the screen, but the dots with your life, and go, oh, well, that was the day, you know, that I was lying in bed and replaying how amazing it was. Or that was the day I went to an art show and was really, really inspired by the art I was looking at. I was in a, you know, it was just Tina in a heightened state of appreciation at an art show, right? And so now you know, she's like, well, let me try that again. Or maybe I want to create art myself, and, you know, or just do whatever you want with it. But the idea is to just notice the correlations between what you're doing and what your biometrics are telling you about how you're doing. All right, any comments? Further?
Janet has raised her hand.
Janet, oh, good.
Hi, yes. Hi.
Janet,
Um,
okay, sweet. Janet, I don't know if we are, what we have to do, because oh, good, I see you have a raised hand. Can you text Mohan in the chat group? Do you know how to do that? So if you open up the chat group here,
yes. Okay.
text Mohan instead of everyone, you know, just choose him, Mohan, like this, and then
Okay.
send him your email address that you used when you subscribe.
Okay.
Because I'm able to do this analysis for the people who've asked me, because I've done them before, and Mohan has to actually make it possible for me to look at you, because your data is private. Everyone's data is private, and we aren't going to show your data like this unless you give us permission. Okay, Andrea Gray also, I think.
I have a question, actually.
Go ahead, Andrea.
I just want to clarify something you said that sounds really cool. So I just want to emphasize it, I guess. You're saying that when the tokens become available through the new metrics and everything, as I understood, it'll alert us maybe that we got a token, and then it'll be easier to be like, hey, I was just doing this. Because one of the things I'm having trouble with is, well, not trouble, I shouldn't say it that way. It's more like, okay, it's early on and it's fun, but also realizing, like, in my calendar, I usually erase the things that I'm doing as I do it. That's been my procedure. And I want to like do the complete opposite and be like, okay, this is like rearrange things so I know exactly what I was doing at what time.
Right.
But that habit is very hard to break. So I tend not to know exactly when.
Sure.
But it excites me to know that if it's like, hey, you just earned a token, or oh, maybe you're like close to or whatever, that will alert me that like then I can make note of it more easily of what I'm doing at some point.
Sure, of course. You know, it's all brand new. It hasn't been done yet, so it's not as if I can say what it's going to do exactly, but that would be the ideal is, I mean, this is the ideal, but it takes time and money to program this, to develop this, and we can only develop according to our revenue right now. And that's what's making things go slow. We just don't have the funding to just, you know, run off and develop all these amazing things. We'd love to, but thanks to you guys, we're able to even have what we have. So the dream is that you're bebopping along in your life, and like, oh my, you know, like right now, Garmin will buzz me when I, you know, exceed a record for the day of my steps. Not exactly the most important feature. I would love for the Garmin or even the mobile app to go ding, 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 ding. You know, I would love to get a vibration on the Garmin. Now, that's not going to happen day one, but that would be the dream, is that you get a notification on your watch and in the mobile app to say, hey, you just got a token, and it's a juicy one. You might want to take a look. And then ideally you just click on the notification, and it just should take you right there, right? And then forevermore, that little token becomes your breadcrumb to go back in time. Because even right now, like right now, I'm doing this analysis, and I'm like, okay, which day was it, Chris? He's like, oh, I think it was like 3 or 4 Thursdays ago, you know. So I'm like,
what was I doing?
I'm still hunting and searching, you know, like, okay, which day? Like, I know for Omcar it was the 11th of November, you know. Obviously we want it to be easier for each of you to go back and replay and revisit, and, you know, and you can even get a new rise by replaying.
Well, for me,
The,
it's
the,
fun to look at it and get to know my heart, right? And then get to know other people's hearts and have insights at that level. So I'm here for the journey, not the vision and the
Right.
destination. And so I just wanted to,
Yeah.
clarify that too.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure. Yeah, and you won't be able to necessarily look at other people's, right? Only in these training sessions. Do we?
That's what I mean, just to
Yeah,
see the
right.
differences. Yeah, I'm not.
Right, exactly. Okay, is Janet working?
yeah.
All right, I see that. Okay, Janet, cool. Okay.
Could I ask a quick question?
Of course.
Just a quick one. I think it's just that because I'm a beginner. I have just a basic app, but I'm trying to understand when there's those three: the coherence, the balance, and the allowance. What does it mean, or which one should I be looking at, or does it matter if they're all 100%, or is it just the coherence? Sometimes I see the coherence 100%, but then the other two are lower. What do they
Okay.
mean?
Who was that speaking? I couldn't even tell.
That was Janet.
Oh, it's Janet. Okay, Janet. Okay, that's right. Because Janet, I apologize. You are new to our group, and I didn't see you when I first started, so I skipped over a lot of those.
I came in the middle.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. So let me show you your results on the advanced Soul Compass, and then we'll talk about the mobile app. Okay?
Cool.
All right. Okay, because I think you're gonna like what you're gonna see, because I can already see it. Share screen. So this is Janet. Let me get results. Okay, so this is just on the 15th. I just randomly picked this date, and I'm going to start here, and then we'll look at maybe more currently. But why I find this interesting, and it should be obvious to you as well, if you were a subscriber to our advanced Soul Compass, you would see these beautiful spikes right here. Happening at what's the 15th? That was about 4 days ago. So about 4 days ago, like around between 10 and 11, you had a rather lovely spike, and then around 2 o'clock, another one. And if you look at your heart rate, you see, drops in your heart rate happening, and that often correlates with these spikes in your heart power. So now let's just look at and by the way, these are very high. These are almost as high as your sleep, right? Because your sleep is this level. This is sleeping time. This is you sleeping, your heart rate. This is your resting heart rate. And you wake up, it goes up. When you wake up, your heart power goes down. But your heart power comes right back up again pretty quickly, twice. You get these two beautiful peaks, and then it's just hold steady in your late afternoon. So now I'm going to scroll down and look at what's happening. I'm purposely leaving the annotations. You can see they correlate right nicely with your peaks in heart rate variability as well. And no surprise, lots of coherence. See the blue bars. This is your combined coherence. Lots of combined coherence throughout your day. And we're mostly interested in daytime, right? Not sleeping time. So we're mostly looking at daytime, these hours in the middle of your day. Lots of bars. So that was just randomly looking at the 15th. Let's just look. Do you have another day in mind that stood out for you? That felt particularly good? That you did something more intentional?
No.
Okay, so then let's just look at the next day and see the difference on Thursday. See, well, you had a huge peak at the end of your day. Wow, okay, this is interesting. So here, again, probably sleeping, maybe woke up, for sure woke up, power comes down, but then you have a spike around 1 o'clock. and then coming down, and then this huge spike at the end of your day. At first I thought, well, maybe you just went to bed, but you see it's too dramatic. It's a dramatic spike here at after 10 o'clock, and you had a very big drop in your heart rate, almost as if you did an evening meditation or something, or just let go, just really let go, and dropped pretty quickly. Don't suppose you remember, that was on Thursday.
Thursday.
But that was your high point of the day, was something happening.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm a physical therapist, so I was doing some work with my husband, but I've been trying to make it less technical and just flow with it and not
Yeah.
think too much. I think that's what I was doing at the end of the day.
Got it. Yeah.
Thursday.
You just let go. You're like, okay, surrender. Don't fight it. Don't force it. Just let go. That's what that looks like. Complete letting go, which is very, very healthy to do. That's where your power comes in, your impact. So let's just look more readily. Let's look at yesterday, just so, or we could even look at today. What time zone are you in?
I'm in New York,
You're
Eastern.
in New York, so you're 3 hours ahead. Is it 1:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 1:30. We got data until about 1. You know, nothing dramatic today, kind of, right? You see, but then it's only half a day. So you can see sleep, and you wake up, power comes down. Just not enough data today to really see anything significant. So what I'm going to do is look at yesterday, just so you can see a whole day and see the difference. Come on.
Yesterday I had the
Oh, wait,
watch
it says
off
Chris for
until
some
the
reason.
evening time.
Why does it say Chris? That's bizarre. Make sure it's you. Okay, let me get rid of this line. Oh, not very much data yesterday. Can you guys, so if you guys ever see this, right? If you ever see what just doesn't look like much variation, and look at the timeline, she only has data from like 7 o'clock at night.
Yes, the watch was off until
Right.
7.
So that just means you either weren't wearing it or you weren't synchronizing. And so,
No, I think she's not wearing it because if she synchronizes later, also the previous data will come down.
okay,
Most
got
likely
it.
that she was not.
Got
Oh,
it.
there we go. Sorry, I was trying to talk, but I was muted. Yeah, it was off until 7.
Got it. Okay. All right. So like here's, you know, I'll just show you for comparison on this day. This was the 17th. This was Friday. Just so you can see. We can see that you're wearing it while you're sleeping, right? Because this is the middle of the night. And you can see your heart power's up, and then as you're waking up, it's going to come down. And this is a rather, I'll just call it typical experience. You know, heart rate while sleeping is not so significant, doesn't fluctuate, but then you wake up and you just start moving and your heart rate will go up. And you see how they're just almost exactly reflecting the opposite of each other. As your heart rate's going up, your heart power's coming down, because it's just taking more effort to beat your heart and move the blood around in your body. You're being more focused on being physical. Your focus is on your body and being physical, and less on not being physical and allowing and surrendering. And you're more in an effort state. So that's what that shows. But you still have quite a few spikes in heart rate variability. You know, that's what these green graphs are, is your heart rate variability and a few spikes in combined coherence. So now let's talk about, since you asked, I'm going to now change, I'm going to go to, hang on a second, guys. I have to get rid of those things. What I'm going to do now for Janet and others who are relatively new, and it's still a good review for even those of you who are in the advanced. I'm spending almost all of our time using the advanced soul compass because we can just see so much more. We can see these instantaneous spikes, for instance, that cannot be seen on the mobile app. And the reason is the advanced soul compass, the dashboard I'm using, the web interface, it's obviously a bigger screen, and we're able to see orders of magnitude more information in multiple graphs. And we're looking more at the raw data with very little, if any, interpretation. Just give me the facts, you know, give me the raw data. Don't interpret it yet. Down below, when we're doing combined coherence, we're starting to have formulas that blend some of the information to give us a formula and some results that are specific to when certain things are happening. The mobile application that all of you started with does a lot more interpreting. It does a lot of averaging. So it's giving you it's a general tool. It's good. It's like a little bit of training wheels are involved because we're not expecting you to deep dive yet on your data. We just want to give you general feedback on your trending. Are you going up or are you going down? Are you hot or cold? Are you going left or right? You know, it's just more general. And for that reason, it's averaging your metrics. And so now I'm going to open, we're going to look now at a few things. Actually, let me open, let's do this. I have a, this is our slides for new pilots. And I'm just gonna go show you a few things, okay? This is for Janet and some of you who are kind of new. I'm just gonna take a few minutes, guys, and we're gonna end with what do the metrics mean on the mobile application. So for starters, if you're brand new, the one thing you want to know how to do is touch your finger on the waveforms to get this vertical line. Okay, the vertical line will then give you a date and timestamp, and all the metrics will tell you what they are at that time. That's number one. There's a little plus sign. If you press it, it'll give you a journal. You can actually make a journal entry. Now, we're not reading these journal entries. It's really just for you. And we, in the future, will have a way for you to more easily find them. If you press the summary button in the middle bottom, you'll get this screen. We're not supporting it yet, so I'm not going to describe it yet. But in what's coming will be a way to look at your trend line over time. I'm not going to go into this. All of you can learn how to synchronize and set up the Wi-Fi network. I'm just going to zoom through a few basic features for brand new people. You want to make sure that on Garmin Connect that you have a heart rate visible. If it's flat like this with just lines, that means it's not connected anymore. And then if that happens, you go into settings on your mobile phone and look to see if it's connected. You go under settings, Bluetooth, and make sure your watches, I have two, that they're both connected. All right, so I'm gonna zoom through now. This is our black paper, guys, and I'm gonna put in the chat group a link to our black paper, which gives you more depth on what each of the formulas are. Let me grab it here and put it in the chat group. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm trying to get back to the Zoom. Let me stop sharing for a second and put it in the chat group. Need my reading glasses. All right. Chats, here we go. All right, here we go, everyone. So here's a link in the chat for those of you who want to find how, what do the metrics mean on the mobile app? You can read that on your own. And just for completion, I'm going to also put in the chat a link for syncing Garmin. Okay, couple things. All right, so now let's go back. Let's go back to here. Oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry, I went to the wrong screen. All right. Now, so many moving parts. Okay. I'm getting there. There we go. Ta-da. All right. Just basic interpretations. This is for Janet and anyone else who forgot. What are the metrics showing us on the mobile application? There's 3 graphs. Green is allowance. Okay. Green is allowance. Pink. Someone's got a baby. I hear a baby.
Oh yeah, let me, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Pink is balance, and purple, this purple one, it's a little hard to see on the screen, easier on your phone, is coherence. Now, I'm going to start with allowance, green. Allowance is our average of your heart rate variability. We're calculating heart rate variability in the short term and in the long term, and then we're averaging it out. So this is like a trend line. This is, are you trending? And if it's going up, it means you're in the direction of higher allowance, higher heart rate variability. And that's a good thing. You want green to go up. That is the most important metric on the mobile app, is allowance, going, trending upward or holding it higher. Balance is going to change. And I don't know if it's going to be a couple weeks or a couple months, but it's changing. Right now, balance is it's measuring 2 different frequencies in your heart power, and it's looking for when they are in balance. And this is reflecting a former belief and studies that we're trying to determine when you are ready, when you are at least gearing up and restoring and ready to flow, ready to be, in a higher state of flow or coherence. This is going to change because of our work with many of you. We've discovered that there are other metrics that are far more meaningful than just simply the balance between those frequencies. It's more interesting to just having your heart power go up and your allowance go up at the same time. That is going to become coherence. For right now, again, these are general theories about your balance and coherence. So if purple, the purple line, is not going to fluctuate that much currently because it's a ratio of your high frequency power over your total power. And that's good for now. That's a good indication of when you are trending in the direction of coherence. But we're kind of between worlds right now, right? We have these new breakthroughs that we're wanting to bring out to you, and yet the mobile app is still going to represent basic interpretations, you know, basic trend lines around current beliefs and theories about what coherence is about. But you see, we're in the middle of a new theory. We're on, you know, like as some of you pointed out in today's call, we're pioneers. We're on the leading edge, and we are breaking through. And so these formulas will be changing. They're currently good indications, but they're not necessarily the truth. They're good indications of your flow of balance and coherence. And so you want to, like, it's not uncommon if you're intensely exercising for your allowance, the green line, to be pretty low like this. And the reason is, if you're physically exerting yourself in any exercise whatsoever, your heart rate's going to beat faster and faster. And as it beats faster and faster, there's less time and space between beats. And so it's going to vary less. That's why it's low. This is heart rate variability is low. But then when you let go and go into these higher states of appreciation and acceptance and satisfaction, without effort, without resistance, without opinions, without negative thoughts and feelings, your allowance is going to rise. And if you can hold it up here like this, you see, this is really the ideal, is to have all three elevated at the same time. And even better if you can, you know, like this is wonderful to have them all elevated at the same time. This is even better on the right, where they're staying high together, right? This is very much a sweet spot. But this is too, like, this might actually feel more joy, more blissful when you have the rise of allowance. That's like the space and time between your heartbeats is getting wider and wider, and it actually feels heart opening. And so the emotions with a rise like this are going to be, you know, more tangible. I lost my cursor. Sorry, I'm looking for my cursor. Okay, am I frozen? I think I'm frozen. No, I'm not frozen. All right, some reason my screen froze. Hold on, I'm working on. Quite literally, I'm not frozen, but my screen is, and so I have no cursor. Oh my goodness. I'm waiting, hoping it will come back, but even hitting escape is not working. Bizarre. This is very bizarre. I've never had this happen before.
Yeah, when you press escape, Zoom actually terminates the sharing of the screen. I think the cursor went behind the screen you're sharing.
Well, what's
Sort
really
of like
weird,
a
hitting
small-
escape is not letting me escape, and I have no. Oh, here. Phew. I got my cursor back. Oh my God, that was really weird. Never had that happen. Okay, gonna start over. All right, there we go. I won't use annotation. I'll just use my cursor. So that's, this is emotionally gonna feel different. This might feel just really peaceful when they're all elevated together, or you might be asleep. It's very common. Here's some other advanced interpretations, like, you know, this is either sleep, because all your metrics are going to be rising when you're asleep, because what's happening when you're not sleeping, you're not thinking, so you have no resistance. Your allowance is going to be heightened, your coherence, like all your metrics are going to be elevated. And then when you wake up, you know, they start wheeling around. But this is really desirable, is to have them peak at the same time. And then you can touch your screen and get this vertical line. And if this happens, guys, go ahead and take a screenshot and share it with the group in Telegram and tell us what was happening for you at that time. Okay. All right, just trying to get that thing to go away. Get that. This is this was I think it was September 2nd. I did a heart-focused meditation. And what I want to show you is what happened. Allowance went up. Oops. Hello. End of slideshow. Okay, too many things at once. There we go. It's back. Sorry, guys. Bring that back up. Okay. So you can see allowance went up and it stayed up. I'm not worried that balance went down because remember, balance is just a ratio of some of my heart frequencies. I'm much more interested in allowance going up and staying up. That is the most significant thing you want to look for on the mobile app right now. And then you can look at Garmin Connect. And sometimes I look at either my heart rate or body battery. Body battery is kind of interesting. And notice what happened at exactly that same time. So this was 10:30 in the morning. And at 10:30 a.m. on Garmin, it showed this like, it looks like I went to sleep, right? It showed heavy restoration, strong restoration. It actually showed a bump, a blue rest bars, suggesting that I was napping, but I wasn't. I was very awake. I was just heightened in my focus on my heart and letting go of resistance, increasing allowance. And Garmin interprets that physically as resting and restoring. Soul Compass registers that as high allowance and relatively high coherence. So that's how you can use Garmin and the Soul Compass together. I often do look at both. I'm always curious, what does Garmin think, even though Garmin is going to look at me more from a physical point of view. And like even Tina was saying, when she's in meditation, Garmin sometimes thinks she's sleeping. So hopefully, Janet, that gives you some clarification. It's really you want to focus on the green line the most, which is allowance. And again, that is related to heart rate variability. If it helps, I can show you how those things look on the advanced Soul Compass, because they do correlate. It's just you won't see on the mobile app, you won't see a spike. You'll almost never see a big spike because it's averaging your data. It's more like a trend. How are you trending? Any questions on that or comments, anyone? No. Okay. Anyone else want? I'll do what I'm going to do is let me close my PowerPoint slide.
I do have one question.
Sure.
You were saying that it's ideal that you have all three of those lines elevating, but is it ideal to have them flatlining more and just try and raise your percentages up the scale to get those peaks better, or is it?
You know, we don't want to define what's best for each person because it really depends. Like Chris Coyne, you know, he's been meditating for so many years. He's really good at getting them up and holding them up, right? Like he's really consistent. His life is not as dramatic. He doesn't have tremendous swings. I am more of a swinger. You know, I am very, very sensitive, and what I think like comes back at me pretty loudly. And I like to create with a lot of energy with my thought and my heart and passion. And that comes with it a different experience. So for someone like me, you're going to see, like, I'll have spikes. I'll have, spiky days. And so, like, it's not necessarily better. It depends on the person. It's like, some people are marathon runners and others are sprinters. I'm more like a sprinter. And there's just different. That's why the reward system that we come up with is going to honor both, because we're not going to say this is better. We want you to decide what's best for you. Right? Like, it's kind of tricky to get all three of those metrics to even come up together at the same time. That alone is significant. Getting allowance alone to rise is significant and is beneficial to you. Holding them up higher, well, that's beneficial too. And depending on the person, you have to tell us what is better for you.
Right. So just going back, just when you touch your finger on the screen and it creates that line,
Yes.
and you want to make a notation as to where, what you were doing at the time for
Yes.
your own reference. What is it you're touching? Summary, or what are
There's a
you
little
touching?
plus sign. There's a little plus
Oh,
sign.
the plus sign beside, and that adds the
Yeah.
comment, and you can, okay,
Right.
awesome.
And that will open up the journal. You can make some notes, hit back, and it'll take you back. Also, another quick little thing I forgot to mention, if for any reason you've synchronized your data on Garmin, but you're not seeing it on the Soul Compass, you can always close the app, right? Like if it's an iPhone, you just swipe it up, just close it and reopen it, and it will reload the data.
Okay,
That's another, quick little technique. Yeah, so in the beginning, Jacqueline, in the beginning, it takes some time, right? Just to even notice what is your baseline, right? So like your question is rather advanced, and it might take you some time to even notice, well, what does cause these metrics to go up? What does cause them to hold higher? It can take some time just to get your bearings on what is it I'm doing and thinking and feeling that's causing these metrics to do this, right? Just that's the first order of business, is to just see if you can connect the dots. That'd be the very first thing we encourage everyone to do, and not necessarily like start with like something advanced, like I'm going to see if I can focus on grief and see if I can move my metrics up. That would be like one of the hardest things you could do, is focus on something that doesn't feel good and expect your metrics to go up. That would be very advanced to do that. So and there will be some other videos we'll send you with some recordings that we've done with others, and you can get more of a feel for what the metrics mean. And it is more about self-discovery, of you discovering what does it mean to you when one or more of the metrics are rising. Like, for instance, with Chris Coyne, he helped us so early on with these formulas that he was able to go into deep meditation, and all of his metrics went up to 100%, and he held it for hours. And we're like, oh my God, we didn't even know that was possible, right? So you guys are actually, we're trying to keep up with some of the advanced pilots so that it's a universal tool. I guess that's the goal, is that it's universal. And in order to be universal, there's a paradox in that we can't over define it for you, because you have to actually define it more for yourself. And and thereby helping us define it universally for everyone. So at least the feedback is truthful and meaningful to you, and you're able to use the soul compass to create a better version of yourself, because it should affect your whole life when these things are you know, moving in the direction of an upward direction, or when you're getting these spikes that we were showing.
Right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else? We have time for maybe one more. And if I do one more analysis, I can also, for those of you who might,
Yeah, Brigette was requesting on the 17th.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's do it. Let me pull it up. Give me a second. Brigette on the 17th. Share screen. And if you ever get this, just hit get results again. You know, this is all new, guys. Okay, here says Birgit on the 17th, correct? So what you can see, let's just go with, start with heart rate, sleeping. See how she sleeps like a baby. Incredibly low resting heart rate. I mean, this is a very low resting heart rate. So she's got no stress while she's sleeping. And then she gets up and, you know, is alive and kicking. You know, heart rate is like, hello, I'm here, I'm awake. And she's very active. And what you can see in heart power is super high while she's sleeping. As soon as she gets active, it comes down, but boom, she just comes right back up again and barely skips a beat, right? I mean, her average, if this is an average, I'm doing a white line to show her average heart power. It goes down, but it comes right back up again. You see how she doesn't really spend much time dwelling in what I would call negative thoughts and feelings. You know, she's clearly elevated and rising. You see this too, starting at 2 in the afternoon. She's just rising. And, you know, this is nothing to be concerned about. This is a drop, mostly because her heart rate probably went up at 8 o'clock-ish. Yeah, here it is right there. See that? Heart rate jumped up. She did something active. No surprise, but she comes right back up again. And the other thing that's really significant is, hide these lines so you can see it. You know, like when I'm sleeping, I'm like at 15 or maybe 20. So she has a very high heart power while sleeping. And it's very significant to have heart power peaks at the same level as sleeping while you're awake. Very unusual. That's a special case, guys, because that's not normal. Okay, that would be an advanced allowance. And advanced heart power is whenever your heart power peaks are as high or even higher than your sleep level. And now let's just scroll down and take a look at heart rate variability on the same, you know, you can see, so you can see them together. Let me hide a few things and circle a few things. Like this one, see, she's got a peak here, a peak. I mean, there's so many peaks in heart power combined with a gradual rise. And then you can see down below, you can see how those line up, right, with heart rate variability. And what is heart rate variability, right? That's allowance on the mobile app, right? So green allowance in the mobile app is green heart rate variability on the advanced. The colors match. Green is green. And she's got peaks in heart rate variability. Now these peaks may not be noticeable on the mobile app because on the mobile app, it's more of an average. So if I were looking at her mobile app, just trying to make these lines go away. If I were, you know, I'm not looking at Birgit's mobile app, but if I were, it would show an average. She would probably, these are relatively high peaks and they keep coming back up. So she probably has a fairly high allowance on her mobile app, right? Because it's an average of all these peaks. That's what her mobile app's going to show. Do you know what your mobile app shows, Birgit, on the 17th? Are you there?
I just go and check. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Birgit 17th. Yeah, so it's not, that's the thing we want you guys to just remember, why we have these two different subscriptions. You are seeing the averages on the mobile app, therefore you're not seeing these, she's not going to see these spikes or these ups and downs on the mobile app, because you can't do both. We can't show both. But what we can see, she's got lots of combined coherence. That means heart power is going up and heart rate variability is going up at the same time. I'm just
So
looking.
there's almost a flat line starting at around 3:30
3:30
p.m.
Yeah.
from like 100% allowance, 81 coherence, and 100 balance, and that stays until like this for like at around 8:15, and then it's like swinging, as you said.
So starting
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock, your allowance is high but flat.
Yeah, allowance is 100, coherence
Wow.
80, and balance 100, and it stays like this until 8:15.
Okay, so that's interesting. Mo, I'm going to let you comment on that. So she's saying her allowance is high starting at 3. Is that because it's averaging like all this, the past? I mean, her.
Yep.
Right, because there are no peaks to write home about in heart rate variability during
So
that time.
the peaks are not visible because the graph that we are looking at is very relative, right? So the peaks on, so even the 50, it's going to 80. So since we are looking at 200 above on the left, the peaks during that time is subdued. It's kind of obviously what we can. And there is also like peaks peaks right here. Looking at this graph is like very relative on what we refer, right? But if we look at that region specifically, what Brigade is referring, it's also like a very high SDNN even there as well.
Interesting. Okay, I mean, her heart power is definitely higher starting at 3. She goes, and also her heart rate, look, starting at 3, which is her heart rate starting at 3, she's really just going down, which would suggest high allowance, heartbeats going down.
Yep.
But it's fascinating. You see what's so different between the mobile app and the advanced app is when we look at your heart rate variability on the advanced here during that time, it doesn't look very significant. You see how this is the region right here. Oops. Starting at 3, right? You just look super chill at this time.
Looks like she's sleeping.
Yeah, it almost looks like sleeping. Exactly. It looks very similar to sleeping in both heart power as well as heart rate variability. See, they look so similar. And at sleeping, the heart rate is low, and in this incredibly relaxed state, her heart rate's coming down too. And what the mobile app is telling her is that her heart rate variability, her allowance, is very high. at this time. And that's because it's not looking at the spikes. It doesn't care about spikes. It cares more about her average consistency. What's your general state? And you can see her general state is like sleeping, which is a great state to be in. And when you're sleeping, you're in renewal, you're in restoration, you're recovering, you're allowing. So that's what's so fascinating, and why we have both of these different subscriptions, so that you can see yourself from these different perspectives. One of them does not tell the whole story. But it's valuable to have both to see how you're doing, because spikes are good. And this is back to the question that Jacqueline was asking, you know, what's better? Is it a spike better, or is it better to just be elevated? And we can't tell you exactly what's better. It's what's better for you. And usually what we hear back is, depending on the person, if you're like Birgit, I know she has, she's generally very happy, and she's traveling, and she's on adventure, and she's often in a high state of appreciation and play, and with her daughter and in nature. You know, she just has a life that many of us would dream to have, right? And her metrics are showing her that on the mobile app in a different way. So on the mobile app, she's seeing her consistency, her elevated allowance is high. And on the advanced soul compass, she can see also more subtle differences in her spikes. She can see within this sea of elevated heart power, there's also spikes. There's fluctuations. You know, it's not just boring. There's subtleties at every level for every person. No matter who you are, you're never gonna be done. There's just always room for improvement. So that's also why it's tricky. We have these different ways of looking at yourself, because you're unlimited and you're never finished, and there is no limit, there is no cap, there's no top. And so we just want to continue to evolve so that you can keep growing and improving, and see your relative improvement, not comparing you to anybody else. Always comparing yourself to yourself, and being able to see that there is variation even within you, from day to day, from minute to minute. Okay?
Hey Susan, I had a
Yes.
question for Birgit. I was curious what you were doing in that time window, like
Mhm.
3 to forward. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Great question.
Can you repeat the question, please? I was like, my daughter's here.
No worries, no worries. I was curious about what was your experience from 3 p.m. onwards when you were seeing your allowance rise on the app. What were you doing at that point?
That day I was in the morning, I was meeting a friend. Noemi, man hört dich auch.
So this is a
So
friend.
that was, this is my daughter.
Mhm.
Nein, but sie hören nicht.
We're very excited,
She's-
daughter.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that was really that was a friend I met on my camping tour, and he came like all the way up from the place he lives in Belgium to my place now. So that was amazing, and we had a really nice time. So that was really just relaxing. And afterwards, Noemi, sei mal leise. I came home and I was just feeling so happy and so like relaxed, full of love, full of joy, and
Mm-hmm.
And then I was putting some music and yeah, I was just letting go and tears are running out of my face. I was just, yeah, tears of
Mm.
joy, and I was just sitting here and and yeah, just like that.
Wow.
So
What did you do
that's
starting?
that's why I remember this day. So I wanted you to look at that
Okay.
specific day.
What happened at 3 o'clock? Do you remember starting at 3 o'clock?
Ah. At 3 o'clock, I came home and I think I was doing some grocery shopping. So at 3 o'clock.
Interesting. So from
Yeah.
3 until 8 o'clock, like you had you see, starting at 2 or 3, your heart rate's coming way down so gently
Yeah.
between.
Yeah, I think I came home around, like I went home around 2. I took my bike to go back home. Noemi, es hört dich gerade jeder. Du bist total laut.
Your daughter's so excited.
Yes. And she made some slime, so she's like putting her slime into my face and everywhere. Yeah, she did some
Oh, I
slime
see.
on
I
her
see. Got it.
yeah,
Right.
some green stuff there.
Den habe ich selbst gemacht, das, was ich ihm selbst
Yeah,
gemacht habe.
habe ich. So I went home with my bike around 2, and then I was doing some shopping, and then my child came home and we went like home, and then I
Yeah,
was
well,
home.
that's
And I was just so relaxed and happy and
content.
and
Yeah.
after that I put some music and was just like all emotion coming
Right.
out, and tears are just
Amazing.
like flowing. So
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, what I heard, and it really makes sense what we're looking at, guys. What Birgit was saying is she had a day with moments of a high appreciation, right? She had these peaks that correspond with her heightened sense of just feeling happy or playful or alive and grateful. And you can see each time her heart rate comes down dramatically and quickly, kind of like Tina, right? She just goes right into presence and lets it flow, lets the divine flow in. And then by the time the end of her day, she's just so full, right? You can even see her heart power rising, and tears of joy, are just coming out of her eyes because she's just really sinking into peace and satisfaction. That's what it looks like.
yeah, that's how it feels like. Just like heart overflow.
Heart overflow.
Yeah.
So this is what heart overflowing looks like. You
Yes.
have these peaks. You have one peak after another, and then it goes, right? It's filling up. Your heart's filling up. And quite literally, as your heart's filling, there's more space between beats. It's fuller. It's got more space, more time between beats. That's what this is. Heart rate going down means more space and time between heartbeats. And that can feel like heartfulness and peace. Yeah, beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, it's a muscle, so sometimes it's like aching, so like aching in a positive way, but like
I understand.
heart overflow. I don't know how to describe, but
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Tears of joy. Tears of joy are real. It's like your energy, the heart, this divine energy is flowing through, and it's any negative thoughts and feelings cannot stay, so they have to leave. So they just come out through the eyes as your heart opens. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. Oh, so exciting. Thank you so much, Birgit. Thank you for letting us take a deep dive with you and hear, and thank you, Amkar, for prompting her to tell us how it felt. Thank you. So good.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Well, I think that's all for today. What a beautiful afternoon with all of you, or evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for letting us dive in with so many. Really a rich call with a lot of good data points and hopefully good reflections for you as well. It's all good. It's getting better every day. So I love you all, and I'll
Sure.
see you next Sunday for a group guided meditation on satisfaction.
Yep. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.